Download that Odyssey app. It is free to you. You can watch Ray and I on Twitch, on YouTube. Views are through the roof right now because we have breaking news. It's not even 40 minutes old. Jimmy Garoppolo is returning with the 49ers as their backup quarterback. It is a restructured deal. He's got a no trade. He's got a no franchise clause. It's a 1-year deal worth $6.5 fully guaranteed. So it starts around $7, and that's the least Jimmy's going to make. At most, it's going to be about $16 million. He's got playing time bonuses. Obviously, there is the roster bonus that is on there for Jimmy, but it is a much more digestible number considering they already had the stomach room for his entire $24 million price tag, if that's what he was going to return with.
Yeah, they made the money irrelevant, essentially. And I mean both sides. You're getting 7 anyway. Why don't you get 7 and keep your hand in? And when they threw in the bonuses, it made more sense just going, now we'll just take 7 and go sit on the beach.
It's a win for the 49ers because they have the best insurance policy, I believe, possible. It's a win for Jimmy Garoppolo because he is still in a position to represent a little possible value. I mean, he could be traded within 24 hours. He could be traded before the trade deadline should a quarterback go down somewhere. So the Niners still have that as an option for them if they'd like to exercise it. And remember, just because there's a no-trade clause, that just means Jimmy can veto somewhere that he doesn't want to go. That doesn't mean he can't be traded. A no-trade clause.
It means that he has to approve it.
Right. It means that he would have to sign off on the idea. And honestly, if there were an opportunity that someone would be willing to trade assets for him, it's probably a starting opportunity, and I wouldn't put it over on Jimmy to pursue a starting opportunity over the backup opportunity that he's targeted to get here. Somebody's like incredible spin jobs coming from you guys who declared him gone. Look, when the business of last year was ending, we knew that declaring him gone was a pretty safe bet. And then when the shoulder surgery prevented him from working out, we thought, yeah, he's probably still gone after all. Hey, you can go back and check the tape on that Odyssey app, and you can find me ahead of the Houston game saying, I would play Jimmy Garoppolo in this game. I would play him just to familiarize him with what it is the hell that's going on this year with the Niners, and I would also want to showcase him a bit to show other teams he's still got it if you're going to make a last-minute deal. There was no last-minute deal. No one was coming for Jimmy. This saves Jimmy, Ray, the egg on his face of being released, and there's still not being much interest. It's a win for both parties.
I don't know how much of a win it is, but it is the best available scenario because I really do believe this was football-driven, not let's take care of Jimmy-driven.
Oh, no, this
was
is
entirely about I don't like our backups, and I'm still not sure about our starter. I'm not going to change my starter, but there is a possibility that he might not get this the way I want him to get it, and this is not a year to fritter away. I mean, I think, if you sit there and rank the options, it's going to be Lance, and Lance will have to be either very hurt or very bad to lose the gig. But if either of those things happen, you're better off with this guy than either of the other two. At least that's what Kyle Shanahan just said.
Somebody says, so Jimmy now has no incentive to help Trey Lance. Look, if that's the way he were wired, I don't think he'd still be here. Say whatever you want about Jimmy, what he's done in a game, what he hasn't done in a game. Unprofessional is a criticism that you cannot attach to that man. And I don't believe it's going to start now.
But more than that, if Trey Lance can be undermined by Jimmy Garoppolo, then maybe he's not the answer.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just because that's the other thing. This is not a test of Trey Lance's character. This is we need somebody better than the guys we got, and you're going to have to be okay with that because this is a business. And, Trey Lance will either be fine with it or he will collapse because of it. And if he collapses because of it, then they picked the wrong guy.
Well, and yeah, if this is the reason why it doesn't work out, We need to know that, too. Steven and El Sobrante. You're on 95.7 The Game, Steven. What do you got?
Hey, so obviously I believe that the Jimmy G to the Niners as their backup is a great plan, but how much of it do you think that this is more of a chess play to see because Seattle was interested in him, so it's more of, pay up if you want him. How much do you think that has to do with it?
I really don't think it has much to do with it at all. Yeah, you don't make your own roster decisions based on what you fear could be another team's roster decision. This is the time of year where every team's trying to do right by its own regard.
Seattle was always sort of a boogeyman anyway. That's sort of old thinking, and we heard it debunked by people who are in and around the game. Where a guy you don't want goes isn't important to you because he doesn't have enough information to truly jeopardize your team if it's a good enough team.
Well, and honestly, they haven't even given him a playbook yet. He hasn't been in team meetings. There is no internal working knowledge of how this team is going to be run this year for Jimmy, who's been on the outside looking in. He's obviously going to be brought on the inside now. And given his experience with the team, it should be like remedial reading for him. He should be a quick study to get all caught up. What's going to be funny, Ray, is if we're talking about the, last year was all, will there be a Lance package? Will there be a Jimmy package? Will he be sending there for fourth and quarterback keepers? He's a great keeping quarterback.
I'll be honest with you. I think the offense was pretty much going to be the Garoppolo package anyway.
Hey, hasn't Kyle Shanahan been saying that?
Yeah, I know. He tells the truth in plain sight while convincing you that it could be a lie. He never really at any point came out and said, "Oh yeah, Garoppolo's gone. There's no chance he's coming back." He skirted around that about 40 different ways. Not because he knew anything, but because he knew if he was definitive about something he couldn't be definitive about, he'd look like an idiot walking it back. So he chose not to. So
we have a timeline of Kyle Shanahan's sound that we will go through. And you can hear a little, knowing what we know now, you can hear a little metamorphosis in how he would explain Garoppolo's presence or impending departure week to week. So we will get into that a little bit later on. We can tell you right now that we're going to keep it live and local, baby, all day today. Our friend who we just talked to at the end of last week, Sean Salisbury, is going to join us again since he was in the Keep Jimmy Garoppolo camp. He's going to join us at 4:15 instead of Pro Football Focus Doug. And then Jennifer Lee Chan is still on for 5:15, and we'll get the in-locker room reaction. And look, I think the team is going to like this. I think that this works well for the team. I think that this works well should something go wrong. I think that there is still an element of getting a return for Garoppolo if it goes in that direction now. There is also the element of, God forbid, something go wrong with Trey Lance. Who better equipped than the guy who started for you as many times as Jimmy started for the 49ers to come on in as your now quarterback's hurt starter?
It's a bizarre situation, and the only one I can think of off the top of my head that it is kind of like was when Johnny Unitas was getting phased out in Baltimore, but he still was around, and they had Earl Morrall, who was just as old as Unitas, but managed to lead them to a Super Bowl. This is more, but this is not unprecedented, but it's damn close. And in any event, it is also the path of least resistance in case they have to make a quarterback change. It's not that, they'll be excited that he's still here as much as there won't be the disruption of a brand new guy. Oh my God, it's week 11. We got to learn how this guy throws the ball more. This is basically, they greased the pan.
Steven in San Francisco, you're on 95.7 The Game. Steven, what do you got?
Hey, fellas, I think it's might even be inarguable that the Niners have the best talent per dollar in their quarterback room now of anyone in the league. Their quarterback room is going to cost them less than some teams are paying backups now.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing when, and I don't know why fans are so worried about this team's financials when there's no real way to reallocate the money that you might have saved on Garoppolo this late in the year to add talent. But
they saved $17 million. What's the spread here?
Right.
If they keep him, they got to pay the 24. They don't. They keep him, and they keep $17 million. I mean,
it's
hooray! You hit the lottery. Nice going, Jed.
The argument,
don't blow it all on liquor.
Right. The argument was, and Steven in the city, way to point it out. The argument was you cannot keep a backup quarterback at that price. Now you look at the total price for both Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. That's a pretty reasonably priced quarterback room all of a sudden, even though the lion's share of the pricing still goes to the backup quarterback because he's not on his rookie deal. It's pretty interesting, to say the least. All right, football season. Freaking love you. Thank God for coming back.
Well,
it's good to watch a little college football this weekend. You see Nebraska be Nebraska
there
all the way in Ireland.
How is Scott Frost still working today?
I can't believe they let him get back on the plane. You thought they would just get him like 2 tickets to the Guinness factory and said, "Look, it's over for us, but go have a beer."
I think Lane Kiffin ruined that gambit for everyone.
That's the thing. They're not going to do him dirty like that because he's one of their own.
Yeah, but he's becoming less and less one of their own with every passing week.
But that's not the story today. The story today is simply this.
Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
Gang still riding. Ryan in San Francisco. Hello, Ryan. You're on 95.7 The Game. What do you got?
Hey, Damon, can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Yeah, so this is first time, long time. Great to be talking with you guys. And I got to, disagree a little bit. You guys are making some great points, but our schedule starts with Chicago, Seattle, I believe it's Denver, and then Los Angeles. Let's say we're 2-2, and there are already calls for Trey Lance to be benched. Is that something that you would like, and how do you think that would play out?
Well, why are we benching a 500 starter going around his league as the first time as a starter? I mean, if they're 2-2, why are we benching Trey Lance? I need to know what he did to deserve, in your mind, a benching at that point. Because 2-2 sounds like a pretty good start to me. I mean, even though that's a light part of the schedule, you would assume 2-2 is a decent first 4 weeks in the NFL. It's not easy to win in this league.
It's 2-2 is kind of irrelevant anyway. I mean, there's only 2 things that are going to change the quarterback here. He's awful, and I don't mean just erratic or inconsistent, but I mean awful. I mean, just like 4 interceptions a game.
Hide your eyes.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about he might not be a professional quarterback.
Yeah, and that decision won't be made in 4 weeks.
Exactly.
The other thing is his knee goes south, or he turns into the wrong guy at the wrong time. I mean, those are the options. That's when Garoppolo comes in. And I can't imagine that week 4 is it unless bad luck. I mean, the earlier it happens, the more likely it's an injury, I guess is the best way to put it.
Oh, I think there's almost no chance of it happening without injury.
Oh, there might be.
I mean, it would have to be such a disaster that not just Trey Lance at that point, but Kyle Shanahan and his decisions are being, just re-examined in every conceivable way.
Yeah. But all I'm saying is Lance is going to be given every opportunity to figure it out, even if he struggles early. But if he's still struggling in week 10, I wouldn't be surprised if Shanahan made a move. I mean, he's already established with what happened today that he has a certain level of faith in Garoppolo. Even though they opened the door for him and wanted to see if he'd walk out. And he didn't.
I mean, no one walked in to come get him either.
No, but the point is he could have just, skipped camp entirely. Just waited for, a phone call. He hung around. Maybe he wasn't,
free access to a weight room.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. I mean, he was around for it.
Right.
And, if he wasn't anywhere near where they could see him, they might not do this. I mean, he's moved on, so we should move on. We're going to have to live with Purdy and Sudfeld. But he hung around enough that they say, you know what? This is a better option. Let's do this. Now, let's go send him over to Prague and whittle down that money.
That's Prague, not Prague.
Did I hasten through it?
Just want to make sure everyone didn't think that we were going to send Jimmy Garoppolo to Prague to restructure anything.
No.
Prague Marate. When it was over, when it was the Jimmy Garoppolo saying goodbye press conference, it sounded like goodbye.
Faithful, thank you very much for everything. It's been crazy, man. Just all the comebacks at Levi's, comebacks on the road, ups and downs. It's been a hell of a ride, guys. I love you guys. So, see ya.
By the way, speaking of comebacks all around, Jimmy's coming back to the 49ers. 888-957-9570. This is Rich on 280. Rich, you're on 95.7 The Game. What do you got?
Hey, guys. Well, I got to say, I'm really bummed out. I think this is a huge mistake, and let me tell you why.
Please do.
Jimmy G has shown that he is a very capable quarterback that can throw a lot of high-percentage short passes. We all know his limitations with the long ball, etc. Another one of his big limitations is with evading the rush and with the problems that all three quarterbacks had in that game. With the offensive line, Jimmy G is a dead duck behind that line. But more, the biggest issue with Jimmy is, and why I never want him to throw another pass for the Niners, again, ever, is at the end, in the big games, in the big high-pressure times, he can't handle the pressure. He folded in the NFC Championship last year with the final throw that ill-advised shovel pass that he tried to throw to the back that was intercepted and sealed the game. And the Super Bowl, we all know about his eyes closed interceptions in the Super Bowl. We know his ceiling. We know who Jimmy G is, and will never be a championship team with Jimmy G behind center. I mean, that's it. We know who he is. And it would have been
all right, but hold on, Rich, and I'm not hanging up on you yet. I'm not hanging up on you here. There's a difference between being behind center and being behind the starting quarterback. All the problems that you're talking about only reveal themselves as if he's thrust back into the starting role. And look, you said he's capable. Asking your backup quarterback in so many other NFL cities to even be capable is a big ask. Like Jimmy cast as your starter. Jimmy cast as this is a playoff game that the Niners need to go out and win today is a little bit of a roll of the dice. I'll agree with you. Jimmy cast as a backup quarterback, doesn't that change your mind about him though, Rich?
It doesn't. It doesn't. At this point, he's a bigger liability with his interceptions in the high-pressure times than he is as a strength.
Let me ask you this. Hold on. One more question for you, Rich, and then we got to let you go. Is Jimmy Garoppolo a bigger liability than what you don't know about Nate Sudfeld and Brock Purdy? You got to stop measuring him against Super Bowls and measure him only against the current situation that he's being weighed against. Is Jimmy Garoppolo better than Nate Sudfeld or Brock Purdy?
The devil that I know versus the devil that I don't know. I'll take the roll of the dice on the other guys because I know Jimmy G will let us down in crunch time.
All right, Rich, we're not going to convince you otherwise. Thank you for the call. I mean, look, at least make your point. Rich made a good point, and I understand why Rich is making these points. By the way, the throwing underneath Jimmy Garoppolo, last year I believe he led the NFL in average yards per reception. Does he throw bombs? No. But he knows how to work this offense to the point where it is beyond functional. It's more, is it state-of-the-art perfect? Absolutely not.
But it doesn't have to be because Kyle Shanahan has figured out ways to maximize what he has. And this is not a choice of Jimmy Garoppolo as the future of the franchise.
Right.
This is a, break glass in case of emergency signing. And yeah, he makes 3 times as much as Trey Lance does, but he's not held in remotely the same esteem. He's what happens if Lance can't play for whatever reason. That's it. So, it's he's the word backup is the only word that works. He's not your guy unless he has to be. And if he has to be, he beats any of the 5 McCowans that are out there. So I don't get it.
How about this from the 925 on the Comcast Business text line? Think about it. Every single team that Garoppolo has ever been a backup for did go on to win a Super Bowl.
That's somebody with more time than job on his hands.
But it's factual.
Oh, yeah.
It's factual.
Yeah. That's what they did it for. They signed him for his incredible aura.
I know my wife is going to be happy he's still around. And look, considering he's going to be carrying a clipboard, probably not wearing a helmet, this is a win for some of the ladies who were worried about Prince Eric being somewhere else. He remains. We're